Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon.
Oh, never mind. Keep going. Oh, I'm Amir. Yeah, sorry. No, I started to say something when you started, but
And welcome
yeah.
to Cast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As usual, we're going to start what media we're consuming, starting with Amir.
One, saw the Snyder cut, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point during this, probably. Two, beat Watchdogs 2. I always got close to the ending, never actually beat it. I finally did it. I was very sad that there was no New Game Plus.
I'm pretty sure we talked about how I got Watchdogs 2 for my little brothers for their birthday. When I got it, I decided to play it myself. And because their birthday was in a couple of days, I literally ran through it. This was the longest consecutive time I've sat down and played the game. I played it for 12 hours straight, went to sleep, woke up, played it for another 12 hours and beat it.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so much fun. That is the more I think about it, the more I think Watch Dogs 2 is probably my favorite game. It's probably Watch Dogs, then Sleeping Dogs. I keep putting Sleeping Dogs in my favorite game, but every time I play Watch Dogs, I'm like, no, this is my favorite game. So then I bought Watch Dogs Legion because it was $20, and I was like, I need more Watch Dogs. And I'll probably find a place to sneak this in later on, but Watch Dogs Legion is one of the worst, most boring sequels I've ever played in a video game. To date.
It recently just went on sale for $15.
Yeah, that's when I bought it. At least it was on sale for $20 when I bought it. But it's I don't understand how you have such a game with so much heart and soul in it in Watch Dogs 2, and then go to what feels like a shell. It feels like a demo almost. It's, oh my God, I'm not a fan of Legion. I'm trying to push through it because Wrench is in one of the DLCs, and I'm trying to push through so I can play the DLC, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. And what else? Snyder Cut. Been watching the Chappelle Show like crazy.
Hey, where are you watching it?
HBO Max.
Okay. Well, the reason I haven't been watching it because I started watching it on Netflix, but it's also on HBO Max, and I need to look it up. I forget where, but either way, I think on both sites he wasn't paid for the show because he had a bad deal with that entire show, and that's and because of that, I was like, I can't continue to support this show on Netflix, even though I love it and I wanted to rewatch it. He became my favorite comedian because I watched the Chappelle Show when I was way too young to be watching the Chappelle Show.
Oh yeah,
It's stuck with me ever since, and I started rewatching it, and I'd stop because he was like, they didn't pay me for that, and I was like, oh damn, they ain't paying for it. I can't watch this, but I need to check if he's getting paid by HBO Max. Then I'll start watching HBO Max.
I don't remember. I think he said when he asked them to, Netflix was super nice about it when he asked them to take it off. They were like, "Oh yeah, sure." They took it off immediately. But yeah, I've been watching it on HBO Max. I love that show so much. That's, oh my God, that show is hilarious. And I've been rewatching the Harry Potter series on Peacock because guess who doesn't get paid for that? J.K. Rowling. Because guess what? I'm not paying for Peacock because Peacock is free. So
wait, what?
Yeah, Peacock is free. It's a free streaming service. You just have to pay to get rid of ads, but I'm fine with that.
So they're taking that route, like Crunchyroll, where you could watch it. That's what I love about Crunchyroll, because the minute I realized I didn't I could watch Crunchyroll with ads, I was like, oh well, why would I pay for it anymore? Especially since
this is I have no reason to pay for this. Yeah, the ads don't bother me.
Especially since I only watch. Recently, this is going to be one of the shows I've been consuming. I've been finishing up Jujutsu Kaisen because I stopped watching it for a bit, and then the season ended, so I was like, I might as well just binge the rest of the episodes. And I'm currently on the last episode, but I have to wait till Friday to watch it. And yeah, I was just like, I'm literally only watching one show on the streaming service, so I don't have to pay for it, so I might as well just watch it. But yeah, go ahead if you have anything else.
I don't. I was just gonna say, no, I've been rewatching the Harry Potter movies on Peacock, so.
But yeah, since I already mentioned Jujutsu Kaisen, I might as well start with the anime I've been watching. Jujutsu Kaisen, which is great. It reminds me of both Naruto and Bleach kind of combined, and those were.
I've been meaning to watch it. I haven't had the chance to, but I've been meaning to.
Anime that I have a lot of nostalgia for. It's pretty good. Once I finish this last episode, I'm jumping straight into the manga. Castlevania, I started rewatching that. I watched the first season, which is only 4 episodes or something like that. I'm about to jump into the second season soon. Castlevania is good. I started rewatching Kill la Kill, which is by Studio Trigger, same studio that's going to be doing the Cyberpunk anime. They did Gurren Lagann, and they also did the movie I talked about last episode, which was Premiere. So yeah, Kill la Kill is good. We're going to talk about that later on when we talk about fan service. So
I forgot to add real quick.
Yeah,
I forgot to mention. I've been reading a comic book series I think you would love. Like you would love this. Did you ever read Spider-Man Life Story?
No.
Do you know what it is?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Spider-Man Life Story is basically it's a Spider-Man series where it's what if Spider-Man aged with, like, you know how he started aging at first, like they were like very real.
Yeah, I know.
It was like that, but it was like, what if that happened, but like continuing going on. It's like it starts in like the 60s and then goes on like all the way up until like the modern day. And I didn't even know this happened because ever since I read that, I've been wanting one for Batman. And it turned out in the 90s they had one for Batman and Superman, which is called Batman and Superman Generations. And it starts in 1939 and goes all the way up. I think the last year is 2019 or 2919 or something like that. But like the last like real year that they have it was like 1999. It's like really good up until like the very end, because in the very end it's revealed that Batman used the Lazarus Pit and became like the head of the League of Assassins, but became immortal, and it was changing the League of Assassins for good. And then that's why it was like 2919, and he was like still alive and still looked like he was like 30 something with like streaks of gray hair. It was, but before then it was pretty good.
So so that in terms of TV shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier, of course, which
I did not think you said Falcon.
You said what?
I did not think you said Falcon when you said.
Wait, what? You didn't think I said it?
You said that. You might have to cut this part out, but when you said that, I could have sworn on everything that you said in the Winter Soldier. I was like, what? The Winter Soldier?
Have you?
I don't think you've been watching the right Disney Plus, man.
Have you been watching it?
Of course.
Yeah, so far it's been pretty good. I like where they're going in the second episode, but we'll have a deeper discussion at a later time with that one. I watched Kill Bill Volume 1, rewatched that movie. I love Kill Bill.
My favorite Quentin Tarantino movie right there.
Yeah, I know you love Kill Bill because it's so much of that like martial arts movie cheesiness that is just so good. I love that movie so much. I actually finished it today because the night I was watching it, my internet cut out when I was like 2/3 through the movie, and then I went to sleep. And
was it this weekend?
It was this weekend that my internet had cut out.
I think everybody's been having internet issues this weekend.
So I ended up finishing Batman Returns. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I don't think I ever finished it. The first two Batman films inspired the animated series. And yeah, both. I feel like for both of those films, maybe the first on the list. I haven't rewatched the first one yet. I'm going to do that soon, but I decided to rewatch the second one because I wanted to see Catwoman. And yeah, they make you care more about the villains in that one than Batman himself. They focus more on Catwoman and Penguin than they do Batman. Of course, the Snyder Cut. We're definitely going to talk about this episode. That's going to be a big chunk of this episode. Last but not least, speaking of Watchdogs and Sleeping Dogs, I've been playing Sleeping Dogs. And that game is fun.
Game right there.
It's fun. The driving is garbage, but
oh yeah, I will always stand on the fact that the driving is garbage.
The fighting is great. Later on in the episode, we might have to talk about what we would like to see, and if they made a sequel, because I think
I already have an entire list.
Yeah, I think Square Enix might own the rights, and they could potentially have a studio make a sequel. So we'll get back to that.
They need to. I think if the movie actually does come out, it'll get popular enough. They'll probably spawn a sequel.
Yeah, so going on to current events. First things first, Gotham Knights got delayed to 2022. Like Miyamoto said, what is it? A rush game is always bad, and a delayed game will eventually be good. So like,
I'd much rather them take their time with it, but I'm still sad. That was my most anticipated game.
I was sad too, but I was like, as long as it turns out to be good, I'll be happy. Next, Black Widow will premiere on Disney Plus with
Finally.
premium access with an additional cost of $30 the same day it comes out in theaters. And at that point, I might as well see it in theaters, and I probably will, because at that point, I probably would have gotten my vaccine. I'm gonna get a haircut and all types of stuff that I haven't done in a long time because I haven't been going outside. And I'll probably, by the time this movie comes out, instead of paying $30 on City Plus, just go see it in theaters with some friends or something. Like, we might as well go see it together, honestly, like when this movie comes out.
Yeah.
But because I don't want to pay that $30. If I were to pay it, I would have to have a party. I would have to invite some friends over. We would have to have a watch party because I'm not paying.
Get your money worth.
I'm not paying $30 to sit there and watch a movie by myself.
You gotta get your money's worth out of that.
Yeah, James Gunn, the Suicide Squad trailer came out. The first time I watched the trailer, I wasn't feeling it, and then I watched it again later that night, and I was like, okay, this is funny. And
I was gonna say, there's no way that you could.
Yeah, I never thought it was gonna be bad because I trust James Gunn. The trailer itself at first, I didn't really like it, but then when I rewatched it, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. There are so many big names in there, and like majority of them are gonna die. Based on the trailer, they could be trying to trick us, but you can kind of tell who might live based on the trailer. But
honestly, based on some statements.
Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the trailer, because I know some people don't like to watch trailers because trailers nowadays give away far too much. But they freaking showed Starro at the end of the trailer.
I was super excited about that.
Like, I mean, it makes, like, I would normally get mad at such a big villain. Like, I mean, he's not like the biggest villain, but he is a pretty powerful villain, Starro.
I mean, like in the comics, he's what brought the Justice League together, like way back in like their first.
He was literally the Justice League's first villain. So to me, it felt like my criticism of the last movie is I felt like they were facing off against too big of a villain for their team. Like, I feel like Suicide Squad is best when they're focusing on smaller threats that, you know, that are under the Justice League's radar.
Unless they have big characters, because sometimes the Suicide Squad does have huge characters.
Sometimes they have Zod. And
yeah, I was gonna say that's like one of my favorite incarnations of the Suicide Squad is when they had Zod on there. That was so cool.
Sometimes they basically just have Superman on their team. So like, yeah, I get that. But yeah, I'm excited for it. So Sony Pictures is producing a Ghost of Tsushima movie directed by the director of John Wick. Chad Stilinski, or I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it's Stahelski. I think that's right. But yeah, he directed John Wick. He's directing the Ghost of Tsushima movie, and something revolutionary is happening. A person from the studio, Sucker Punch, that made the game, is going to essentially be watching over the entire production, which is fantastic. For this movie,
finally,
yes, for a video game movie that has somebody who literally worked on the game and is able to supervise them as they make this movie. That way we know that somebody who knows how this should go is working on it. Because what happens with video game movies more often than not is somebody who knows nothing about who knows a little bit about the game, but isn't really dedicated to making it pretty much please fans. That sounds weird, but that's kind of what you got to do with these type of movies, because they're based off of something that already exists that people already like. So you can't just drastically change what people are already used to. And I don't think they'll do that. And everybody knows the action in John Wick is top notch. So I assume the action in this will be fantastic. I can't wait for John Wick 4, honestly. Those are some of the best action movies I've seen in my entire life.
Especially like, literally, John Wick makes it so that I will watch the same man kill different people the same way for 3 movies over and over again and never get tired of it.
That my favorite of the bunch is the third one, and my favorite fight scene is that knife fight scene. I love that movie.
Oh, you're talking about like the gun store or the knife store where it was?
Yeah, the store with like all the knives and weapons. Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool. I haven't seen the whole movie yet, but that was awesome. Someone
mentioned that they could literally have the actors from the video game reprise their roles, because the way video games work in the modern day is
nowadays
they're done with motion capture and they scan people's faces. So literally the people who play those characters look like that in real life. And they're not just voice actors, they're actors, and they have to wear a motion capture suit and capture their performance, so they know how to physically act. So if they wanted to, I wouldn't be mad if they recast them because I understand when you make something new, it's weird to literally, it would be weird for them to copy the video game one for one because it's like, I already have the video game. I already have that story from the video game. So I do want you to change it because otherwise it's going to be boring if you just show me the same thing again. I mean, it'll still be entertaining, but I still don't want the exact same thing. I want it to be a little bit different. So I wouldn't be mad if they recast, but if they wanted to, they could just take the original actors.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be mad if they recast. I also don't think that, I feel like a lot of the side missions in Ghost of Tsushima were very like supernatural heavy. I feel like they're gonna like just, I don't want to say ignore it entirely, but they're definitely gonna go more towards like the main, less mythical route of like the story and just like focusing on the super realistic aspects.
Yeah, definitely. They always, but even then, when they were mythological, they even went to the fact that they went to the point where it's like, this is clearly fake. And Jen would always be like, Jen would always be like, I don't believe you. That's not real. every time you went to somebody and they would say something like that, he was like, be quiet. That's not real.
Right.
But you know, next on this, so recently, well, Sony is going to be shutting down the PS3, PSP, and PS Vita stores, but coincidentally, there's also a rumor that Sony filed a patent for you to earn trophies on emulated games, on emulated PS3 games. So the rumor is we might finally be getting PS3 backwards compatibility on at the very least PS5, but likely PS5 and PS4. Most likely just PS5, to be honest. Yeah, the reason PS3 games they used to be difficult to develop for back when, you know, of course they were still making PS3 games. And the reason behind that, the former CEO of Sony Interactive, was Kaz Hirai, I believe it's pronounced, essentially said that the easy to develop for console that developers wanted would have been vulnerable to being taken advantage of. So they purposely made it difficult to you know, be made so that people couldn't emulate it, which they're essentially pretty much going to do. So for them to make PS3 games work on the PS4 or PS5, they would have to emulate the software and, you know, obviously have that be a free update on the you know, last two PlayStations so that you can then finally download PS3 games because you know, something we talk about when we talk about PS Now is that you have to stream those games, which is like streaming Netflix. If your internet's spotty, it's gonna stutter. You don't want that in the middle of playing the game. And then for the whole game to shut down because your internet's slow. You wanna be able to download it and play it even if you don't have internet. And that's what this is gonna allow. I'm not sure if it means that you'll be able to use the disc because I think that's a completely separate thing. That's hardware, not software. So I'm not sure how that works. But this is still exciting. What are you gonna say? I know I cut you off. I don't know if you forgot or something.
I was gonna say I just want to play Arkham Origins. That's all. That's the only thing I want to play. That's the only thing I want to play, and I can't do it.
I want to play Arkham Origins, Metal Gear Solid 4, and God of War 1 and 2. Those are the games that I've been wanting to play that I haven't been able to play.
Yeah, no, all I want to play is Arkham Origins. That's legit. It's one game, and I haven't been able to play it, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah, but our last on you know, recent events is that current events, excuse me, is the Lil Nas X Montero video, right?
I haven't seen it.
So yeah, it's a very gay music video, and I've seen
screenshots of it, and I follow him on Instagram, so like I've been seeing a lot of stuff from it.
Coincidentally, I tweeted like a month ago maybe that I was like, we need a openly gay rapper out here in these streets that is just as vulgar as both men and women rappers are today when talking about being a gay person and their sexual experiences, so that it becomes a norm for people to just be gay openly. Right. And we're getting that. Lil Nas X is open about his sexuality, and he does not give a damn about what anybody says. And he is trolling everybody so hard, and people are falling for it. He's catching them a hook, line, and sinker. He made like these like,
you talk about the shoes?
Yeah, these Nikes with like they're human blood on it. First off, they're not officially Nike shoes. They're just like I don't even know how to describe it, fan made or something like that. That I think he's actually selling them. But
He did. They all sold out. He made 666 pairs, and they
but,
all sold out within minutes.
yeah, according to Nike, they didn't endorse it. And what I think might have happened, because otherwise they would sue him, is that they were making the shoes, realized it, you know, I'm trying to look for a word that I can, the feedback, what is negative feedback? What's a word or term for that? I can't think of it. The outrage against it made them back out of the deal and go, you'll still make the money. You can still sell them. They're already sold, but we're no longer going to align ourselves with the shoes. That's all you, man. And, you know, people are ridiculous. Yeah, we just need more, specifically Black queer representation in general, because, you know, our culture as Black people is notoriously homophobic and transphobic and everything in between. And that's something that needs to change. The reason I tweeted that about a month ago is because I was watching a Long Beach Griffey video, and he has these 4 videos where I forget what they're titled, but he's basically rapping, and then like halfway through.
When your homie might be gay.
Yeah,
it's not 4. He has like 7 of them.
Yeah, halfway through the rap, he will say something. He will describe gay sex explicitly, and the bars will actually be hard as hell, and it made me go,
oh yeah, no, the bars are always fire. Griffey is always fire. He needs to release some type of mixtape.
I was like, I wouldn't be mad if a rapper like this existed. This was fire. But yeah, so going on to animation with fan service, is it bad? So I just want to be candid and say I was hesitant in talking about fan service, because fan service is essentially, the definition is material in a work of fiction which is intentionally added to please the audience, often sexual in nature. The reason I was hesitant is because we're going to be talking about fan service in anime, and characters in anime tend to be what's the word? Underage. There we go. They tend to be underage. I was really trying to remember, what is that word? They tend to be underage. In anime, especially shonen, they always tend to be teenagers. You do get adults occasionally that they definitely sexualize, but more than not, they're teenagers. And essentially, my answer is it bad? Not necessarily, but more often than not, it is, because they're usually teenagers. When I was a teenager, naturally, I didn't care. I didn't even think about it. But now that I'm 20, I'm like, this is kind of weird, man.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it until you mentioned it. I mean, I thought about it before, but like it's not something I think about.
The reason I say not necessarily is because it's a fact, it's in our nature that human beings are sexual. We like sexual themes, imagery, and even dirty jokes. And that's in movies and TV show all the time. You know, when it's used in that sense, it's fine. When it's done just for fan service sake, and just for the sake of showing something sexual to get your attention, at that point, it might as well just be porn. Like, so, which of course, you know, go watch porn if you want to watch porn, but this is a show that's meant for entertainment, for like public television. So that's something that you don't usually want to see on public television. And a good example of it being used properly, I'd say, are 2 shows made by the same studio, Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann. They use it for comedy in both of those shows. In Kill la Kill, literally the main character gets more powerful the less clothes that she wears. And it's hilarious. If you haven't seen Kill la Kill, I advise you check it out. The animation is stellar. Studio Trigger is just amazing at what they do. And it is hilarious. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 26 episodes. Definitely check that out. It's 1 season. Same with Gurren Lagann. It's around like 26, 28 episodes, 1 season. As opposed to something like somber and serious, where they'll have fan service out of nowhere. You're like, what is this? Why is this here? This makes no sense. And that other show is for comedy. It makes sense. I laughed. This is literally just here to show me something sexy and get my attention. It's not like, it doesn't need to be here. And also, the fan service is heavily imbalanced. It usually targets men, obviously, because it's also women. It's always women with gigantic breasts, usually showing them off and jumping around and things like that. You know, we need equal representation in fan service. You know, we need some dudes with big chests jumping around. And also, we need more anime where the characters are either in college or like I need some because the older I get, the more I watch stuff with people who are obviously college age because I can relate more to that.
Right.
And when I was a teenager, I related to teenage things, and now that I'm a young adult, I relate to young adult things. And I'm like, man, make an anime where the characters in college. Like that's why Tokyo Ghoul is a anime, but it's a what's the term? It is a seinen. A seinen literally stands for like older boy. So like it literally is targeting older guys. We need more of those. There aren't a lot of them, and we need more because they always target teenagers. And like I said at the beginning, it's weird. Let's make some where the characters are actually adults. They're either in their early 20s. And very, very rarely are they ever in their 30s, like the main character. I mentioned this before, but Kaiju number 8 is the one and first anime I've ever seen where the character is over the age of 30. He is 32. I was so surprised when he said it. He was like, 32 years old. I was like, 32? You might as well be dead. Anybody above the age of 18 in anime dies. But he's the main character, so he most likely won't die. So yeah, moving on from that, we're gonna jump into TV and film. We'll get to the Snyder Cut, but before we get there, I wanted to talk about Black trauma in movies and TV. So, so a trailer for two. I think one's a movie, one's a show. One's going to be on Netflix, and one's going to be on I don't remember where, but one's called Them, and it's blatantly a copy. It's very obviously straight up a copy of Us. It's straight up like they stole Us and repurposed it. And it's called Them.
Us and Them.
You've seen the trailer?
No, I haven't. But
you check out the trailers before this. I forgot. I didn't even think to. Honestly, you can check them out now, but I don't know if it really matters. Two Distant Strangers is like a Groundhog's Day movie, but for whatever reason, just because it's a Black person in the movie, all of a sudden it has to be about racism. And it's Groundhog's Day, but with racism. And he essentially gets killed by a cop every time he tries to like go back to his home. He had a one-night stand with a woman. He's leaving her house and going back home. And every time he tries to go home, he gets killed by this same cop. And what I want to say is there isn't necessarily a problem with there being movies about Black trauma. The problem is they shouldn't be the vast majority of Black-led projects that are made. And that's where people on the internet are having a problem and are being outraged about both of these shows and movies, is that every time a Black person wants to lead a project, it has to be about the struggle of being Black. We can't be a wizard or a vampire or something like that. We can't be something fantastical or magical or mythical. It always has to be grounded in realism and racism and just trauma. And it's like, bruh, let me be Black Panther. Let me be Falcon. Let me be the homie Rhodey. Let me be in the Iron Man suit. Like, come on. It doesn't always have to be about racism. Funny enough, and I'm pretty sure they did this in response to this outrage, is RDC World made a video about a Black person going to pitch a show, and the show is about it's called Black Time, and it's just Black people going through time. And of course, the person mentioned like racism, and he's like, bro, they're not going back in time. They're going back to when dinosaurs were alive, and they're going into the future. So they aren't even going to try to touch on the period of time where we were obviously slaves. He's like, bro, that has nothing to do with this. And he's like, yeah. But what if they were basketball players? What if they were slaves? What if they were experiencing racism? He's like, bro, shut up. I'll punch you. This isn't what this is about. Check that video out. It's called How Networks Be When You Black and Trying to Pitch a Show. That's what the video is called. So yeah, I think there should be far more Black Panthers than there are Get Outs. We aren't just the trauma that we experience. There's so much more. Me and Amir have talked about. I have so many ideas for so many things featuring Black people. It's amazing, and I can't wait for our generation to really get out there and change the world. Lil Nas X is just the beginning of people our age out here doing what needs to be done and changing the way the world sees things. So next, we're gonna get right down into it. The Snyder Cut, Justice League Snyder Cut. So I've been talking for a while. You go first. Just what do you think? What do you think?
It was better than the first one. It was better than the original. I liked it even. I'll even go as far as to say I liked it.
The same.
And that's coming from someone that does not like Zack Snyder movies. There has not been a single Zack Snyder movie that I've liked up to this point.
Like, no, you differ in that opinion. There are several movies of his that I like. 300. I hated 300. I like Man of Steel and Watchmen.
I like Man of Steel. I gotta admit that. I did like Man of Steel. It's not my favorite, and I have a lot of issues with it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, of all the movies I've seen of his, I've liked majority of them. So for me, it's like I don't have as much of a polarizing, opinion on Zack Snyder like a lot of people do. But I understand why people feel that way.
Yeah, I've always been in the boat that he doesn't really care much about the characters that he's putting on screen. He just wants to make like a dark superhero movie. This movie proved me wrong a little.
You can tell
I still have my reservations, but
because not only did he write about a character and show that he cared about that character, but he did it for a character that not many people really even think like bat an eye at, and that's Cyborg. So
as someone that doesn't really know Cyborg all that well, because I don't really like Cyborg, I genuinely just don't care about Cyborg. Like, it's just like I don't care about him. The characters I do care about, even in this movie, suffer just as much, except for Batman. Batman shown in this movie, and I really wish that he had done for Batman what he did in this movie as that he did in Batman. Like, I really wish that this is the Batman we got initially in Batman versus Superman, because this is what I want Batman.
Because he wanted to go super dark into the future, like, okay, Batman's jaded, he's murdering people now.
I was like, what the f is this? Like,
he's at his lowest. And I was like, bro, we don't want to see that. And in this movie, he goes like, this is Superman after he meets, this is Batman after he meets Superman. He's a bit more hopeful. He literally says it several times throughout the movie. He has faith again. He's like, I have faith in the world being a better place. And I'm like, bro, this is where he should have been in the first place.
This is always what he should have been. Like,
he was trying to make the world a better place through darker means, but not necessarily murdering people.
Right.
And yeah, I feel the same. I feel like his interpretation of Batman in the first movie he did with Batman was so weird. I really didn't like it. I would say, like we talked about it before. I used to not be the biggest Superman fan. I really turned around on that. I really like Superman. In the last few years, I've grown to love Superman even. I really like Superman as a character. And his scenes in this movie were really good. He wasn't in it much because he came around at the very end, but because this movie is so long, he might as well have been in it. He was probably in it for like 30 minutes because this movie is long as hell. I want to start off going kind of like character by character, but before we get there, my quick opinion is that it blew me away because my expectations were so low.
Yeah, my expectations were really low.
Were so low, and this movie was so much better than what my expectations were. I was surprised. He took a horrible movie and made it great. And for people who don't know, he only filmed about like 4 or 6 minutes of extra footage. So majority of this footage was either extra CGI or stuff that he recorded but was cut by Joss Whedon and DC because they didn't like the direction he was going. Clearly they were wrong and don't know what their fans want because what he was doing was actually pretty cool. It definitely, I feel like there needs to be somebody beside him or even above him, like a Joss Whedon type, to help this all tie in a bit better, because I still feel like there are certain things that he does in his movies that kind of hurt them. Like, he holds on to some scenes for far too long. He's notorious for using slow motion. And
yeah, it said over 10% of this movie was slow motion.
So it was like 20 something minutes was slow motion. Like
it was 27 minutes and some odd seconds was like the official number. Yeah.
Slow motion. And my thing is, majority of those slow motion scenes were with the Flash. And here's the thing. I love, like, what do they call it? I forget what they call it. I was literally thinking about it earlier. But when, they slow down time in the battle moments, that's what they're called. They do it with the characters who move super fast. They did it with Sonic in his movie. They did it with Quicksilver in the X-Men movies. They do it with Flash in the show. They did it with Flash in this movie. The only problem is, for a character that moves this fast, for him to always be in slow motion whenever he moves fast is the worst thing in the world. Sometimes you just got to show a fast character being fast. And slow motion isn't necessarily always the best way to do that, especially when you hold on to a slow motion scene for like 2 minutes longer than you should have, which is essentially every single slow motion scene in this movie is held for an extra minute. And you're like, okay, it was cool until it wasn't. Like, get going.
In my opinion, I think it would have been genuinely okay if I would have been fine if I don't even think the Flash really needed a slow motion scene. My problem with his slow motion scenes is that he was moving in slow motion and so was the world around him. And I'm like, if you're going to do a slow motion scene for a speedster, make the speedster move at normal speed, but like everything else move around them super slow. That's what I want from a speedster scene.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was weird for me. How much slow motion he did. It was just far too much. He definitely, I feel like.
And then don't forget the Ancient Lamnation music. Literally every time Diana was on screen for half a second.
Anytime Diana breathed.
Yes.
And it was like, bro, calm down. They made her.
It was like she looks in a direction. It's just like the most like epic Greek music playing. Like, this isn't needed. This is not needed at all.
Calm down. It sounded like we were playing Hades. Chill. We aren't fighting demons right now. She's just staring into the sunset. But yeah, going character by character, let's start with the biggest one, Cyborg. I understand why Ray Fisher was so mad.
Oh yeah.
I understand why he was so mad. Because we didn't realize exactly how much of his character was cut out until we saw this movie. He was the heart and soul of this movie, despite being a tin man. And they cut it all out. He was literally the main plot point of this entire movie. He drove the plot, and it was all cut out in Whedon's cut, and it's ridiculous. Cyborg is a character that I've enjoyed, but never was like I was on Cyborg, and me, you've talked about it. I've always hated him when he was on the Justice League because he's kind of just there, and he's their IT guy. He's up in the Watchtower on the computer hacking stuff. And he's kind of just in the background all the time. And where in this movie he's much more prevalent. They make it obvious that how powerful he really is in terms of his hacking skills and even just being connected to a mother box. And he's much more important. And it's easier for him to relate to this version of the Justice League, especially the Flash, because the Flash is so much closer to him in age. The Flash is only like 2-3 years older than Cyborg in this universe, because Flash is like he's like in his like last year of college or something like that. And Cyborg was also in college before he was in an accident. So it's like they're much closer in age. Therefore, you talk about this, how all of the Justice League is usually like 10 years older than him, and he can't connect. Now he has a person who he can connect to in the Justice League, which is dope. Yeah, Cyborg is great. I'm mad that they cut so much out of it for him. I should have mentioned this earlier, and I'm gonna add it when I edit it, obviously. There's gonna be a big red spoiler alert symbol in the middle of this video, but obviously, spoiler alert, we're gonna spoil the hell out of this. Yeah, you have anything else to say about Cyborg before we move on to the next character, not a different section?
No. I have less problem with him being on the Justice League than you do, but again, I just don't care about his character. So no, I don't really have anything to say about it.
Next is the Flash. I like Ezra Miller as the Flash a little bit more than I did originally. Originally, he was just weird, and we didn't really get a lot of him. So he was kind of just this weird guy who ran really weird. I still hate.
Yeah, no, they need to fix that run. They need to fix that run.
He runs. And if he's going to be a character that his whole, majority of his power is literally running, have him run like a professional runner, not like an idiot. Have him run like he runs track. Why is he running like this? Why is he doing this when he runs? It's weird.
I've seen a bunch of people be like, he's moving.
Like he's swimming through the Speed Force, kind of like, I don't know.
That's what I've heard. They're like, oh, he's flowing through the Speed Force. No, he's running. He's a runner. That's what he does. Yes. He runs. Let him run. I don't care about your stupid. He flows through the no run. He's running.
At that point, he might as well just fly.
Right, like there's no just make him run. Like
technically, the Flash can fly, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of did in this movie too when he was doing like the little time travel, like going back thing. Yeah. He was kind of like stepping on like air molecules, but
yeah, I feel like I still haven't seen, even in comic books, a version of the Speed Force that I really like. In terms of like the characters running through the Speed Force, I personally haven't seen a version of it where I think looks really cool. They're good enough to me, but I've never seen one.
I like the comic book version the best. If you read like the New 52 comics, like the New 52 Flash comics, oh my god! Or even the thing where I forget what issue it is. It's not in the New 52 because Wally's the Flash wearing like the Flash suit, but it's when he takes inertia speed. That was so, but it's like that is similar. Like it's similar how they do it in the New 52, and in the New 52 they do it really really well.
Yeah, I need to check it out. I don't remember how that looks, but yeah, I've seen one that
it's so good. And then they have like the painted with watercolors on top of like sharp like ink. It just looks really good, bro.
That sounds interesting.
I mean, everything in the 52 Flash looks good.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Wonder Woman already. She just pops up.
Wait. I get to talk about the Flash. I'm gonna talk about comic book Flash. I get to talk about this Flash. So I liked him in 2017 Justice League. I did. Not as much as I liked him in this movie, and I have my problems with Ezra Miller Flash. You and I have conversations about comic accuracy all the time. You know I love comic accuracy.
Yeah.
This has got to be the least comic accurate Barry Allen I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's done so well. I can excuse it because he's a fun speedster. He's what I would imagine a speedster to be. Like if there's a speedster, I'm imagining they're like Ezra Miller's Flash. Like he was exactly like how I imagine a speedster to be. Yeah, it's him and Evan Peters Quicksilver. Those are like speedsters in my opinion.
Yeah, him being like you said, like Evan Peters being kind of bumbling and goofy as he's going around doing his speedster stuff. He reminds me of Sonic in that sense. Sonic is like this little kid who's just goofy running around as he's trying to like save people. And this is kind of how the Flash is in this universe. And speaking of how I was talking about earlier, how speed is depicted and time in the battle moments. In that movie, there are time in the battle moments with Sonic, but then there's this whole scene where he's running full speed the entire scene. They don't slow down, and he runs across the planet while Eggman is chasing him, and it's fantastic. In the Flash movie,
I haven't seen Sonic yet, but
in the Flash movie, I need him to move, like actually move, and not have him slow down every 5 seconds. That's
right.
If you use it too much, it is no longer fun to see because you've done it over and over again. It's overstayed its welcome. You have to use time in a battle moment sparingly. Like whenever Quicksilver does it, he does it once and then he never does it again. Because they know that it's something that you can't just use over and over again. Then it loses.
It's like once per movie.
Yeah. So I would say for Flash movies, maybe twice, like once near the beginning and once near the end when like final battle. That's when I would like to see slow motions. And then occasionally for like a few seconds throughout the movie. It never has to last as long as it did with Evan Peters, except only twice does it have to last that long. I
still stand by the fact they should have made him Wally because he acts more like Wally than he does Barry.
He does act more like Wally, and I love.
You should have just made him Wally, but it
was Wally. If he was Wally, I low-key wouldn't have wanted to be Ezra Miller. I would have chosen Lance, but that's what I was going. So Wonder Woman, she was kind of just there, honestly. She didn't have too much of an impact on the story. She kind of recruited Cyborg. Other than that,
it was funny. It was really funny because I was like, I saw how Batman was speaking, and I was like, okay, cool. Maybe the characterization will be a little better. Wonder Woman is still maybe the second most inaccurate character in this movie. Well, no. Wonder Woman is the second most Snydered character in this movie, I should say. Because it was like, it wasn't even 30 minutes into the movie and she already murdered a room full of terrorists. And I was like, are you serious right now?
In this movie, they don't care about people being murdered. Their superheroes getting murdered. Because like we talked about before, Wonder Woman kills, but she doesn't just kill anybody and everybody.
Right. It's literally her last result.
Yeah, she kills literally her last result. She has no other choice.
Yeah.
She kills me.
And she had multiple other choices. Like she literally just murdered.
I actually had this discussion with a friend, and he was he was kind of thinking that I meant that she just killed all heroes when I was talking about Maxwell Lord, and I was like, no, she doesn't just kill anybody. She kills when she has no choice. When she killed Maxwell Lord in the comics, it was a character defining moment because it showed you, unlike Superman, unlike Batman, when she has no choice, she's going to kill somebody. If she was Batman, the Joker would be dead.
Yeah.
The Joker would not continuously break out of prison. She would say, forget all that.
For the very least, paralyzed. I don't even know if she would have killed the Joker. I think she might have paralyzed him.
She might have
he's a regular human.
She might have just sliced that man at the knees. Like,
yeah.
Like that man might have just not been able to walk no more. I don't know. She might have just put him in a coma for the rest of his life. She would have done something. Unlike Batman. I mean, Batman used to people. If I was a Batman, I would have, okay, I'm not gonna kill you, Joker, but you won't wake up. You'll be alive, but you won't open your eyes. That rhyme.
Just ever again.
Yeah. But yeah. And it's also this shows even more. I'm jumbling my words, but this is why Patty Jenkins' second Wonder Woman movie should have been set in the modern day, because she should be able to fly in this movie. Like that moment when she threw the bomb up, in reality, she literally could have grabbed it. She can fly fast as hell. She could have grabbed it, flew into the air and threw it, and the explosion wouldn't even hit her because she flies that fast. Like, she should be able to fly in this movie, but obviously Patty Jenkins didn't care about this movie and just decided we're going to make a movie that takes place in '84, like decades before Justice League happened, decades before Batman vs Superman happened. Oh, look, she could fly, but for some reason she never flew in Justice League or Batman vs Superman. She did not think that through. Patty Jenkins made that movie. I feel like she made that movie for herself without any reference to the comics whatsoever, other than taking these two characters and pinning it in the movie. Other than that, you said it. She is Wonder Woman in this universe is one of the characters that's like the furthest from her characterization in the comics. Like Patty Jenkins clearly, she would have killed Maxwell Lord in that moment. She wouldn't have wrapped the lasso around him and been like, the truth. She would have took her tiara off and sliced his throat like she did Superman when Superman was about to kill Batman. Right before she killed Maxwell Lord. She would have murdered that man. But anyway, moving on, Aquaman. Aquaman was another character that was kind of just there.
I liked him in this movie because I like Jason Momoa.
I like Aquaman as Jason Momoa as Aquaman in general. I like the Aquaman movie. I can't wait for the second movie.
I can't wait for the second movie. Hopefully they fire Amber Heard by then. But
yeah, I hope they keep this universe going because I do like it. It got off to a horrible start, but I feel like with James Gunn making the Suicide Squad, he can make the Suicide Squad cooler. With this Justice League movie, Zack Snyder could potentially, instead of being the director, because here's the thing, I feel like this is where he could do good. He could be the Feige. He could have the idea of how it could connect, but then there's other people who could write the stories and direct the stories because his directing style isn't the best.
Someone still has to keep Snyder in control. I will say that because
somebody just has to be there to just check him a bit and be like, hey, it's not good. Somebody just has to tell them that's not good now and again. I feel like
his exact quote was, I believe, and if you want to, I'll send you the video of the interview if you want, and like you can put it in the video so people believe me. He like literally said this. He said, if I'm remembering correctly, this is a universe where Batman could get raped in prison or something like that. And I'm like, that's not what I want to see on screen. That's not the universe I want to see. I'm not joking. I will send you this video right now. Video right now.
First off, how he would break anybody's neck? He already kills people in this universe. You think he's not about to kill somebody who's going to try to do something like that to him? That person's dead. Nobody's going to do that unless they drug him or something. That's weird. That's getting into odd territory. That's a weird interview. That was an interview or something? Why would he say?
Yeah, it was an interview. It was a Batman vs Superman interview.
Why would he say that?
I'm looking it up right now.
You know what? Somebody needs to keep this man in check because
that's what I'm saying. Like somebody needs to keep him in check. He already killed Dick Grayson off screen. I'm like, no.
Wait, that was Dick that died? I thought it was Jake.
Yeah, he said it was Dick. He came out and said it was Dick.
They better throw that nigga in the Lazarus pit. Don't kill my man's Dick. He better become the Red Hood of this universe, except that he doesn't become evil. He just
I don't understand why he didn't just kill Jason, because Jason is literally the perfect character for Zack Snyder to do.
Because it was never confirmed on screen, it could easily be retconned.
It's on the tombstone in Batman vs Superman. Like if you zoom in a lot, it does say Dick Grayson on there.
It can still be retconned. They can literally go back and digitally change that. Okay, it could be retconned. They could go, Dick is here, he's alive, he was off in college somewhere. No, he would be much older than that. He was off in Bloodhaven doing his Bloodhaven stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was off in college. He's only like 23 right now in the comics. I mean, like they could easily just, and he dropped out of college in his first year, and then they could just make him college age.
Yeah, they could still make him college age. But yeah, so there's something I want to talk about regarding Harley Quinn, but after we get through the rest of the characters. But you know, going from Aquaman to Batman. So Batman, I think, honest, like you said, he was more Batman in this movie than he was in Batman vs Superman. But he still, I feel like he wasn't very smart. I feel like his intelligence definitely has not been displayed in this universe. He's not as smart as he should be, or at least he doesn't act as smart as he should. But he does have a lot of really good scenes in this movie. Like when he charged in to take out the shield, when he was in the Batmobile, and when he went to go take out that gunner and those I think it makes more sense that he doesn't kill people, but we all know that a lot of Justice League members don't care about aliens. Aliens can die. They don't care.
Even in the comics, Batman kills aliens. It's just Batman, like if you're an alien, especially parademons, it don't matter.
Batman will kill a parademon, but not a human. But yeah, you have anything else to say about Batman, other than what we said earlier?
He is much more like the Batman I wanted. I feel like people think that Batman's just all doom and gloom 24/7. He's not. He's a very human character. And this shows much more of what Batman is. That last scene didn't really stand out well to me, because it was just like Martian Manhunter was like, he called him Bruce and then was like, your parents will be proud. And I'm like, he didn't even get like the slightest bit suspicious.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, this man wouldn't get up sleepy-eyed, rubbing his face. Like, who is this random man who can fly standing in front of me? He would have got up, grabbed a batarang. I would have been like, who are you? He would have been so bad. Like, who are you?
That I was like, this has got to be a dream. This has got to be like Bruce's perfect world or something like that. But like the dream was like the next scene, and I was like, what? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
My favorite versions of Batman are the ones where he's not shown to be completely cold and uncaring. Like in Young Justice, where he has that moment when he plays basketball with Dick to cheer him up, and I was like, that's cool. And
that's Batman.
And the scene when he was talking to Black Canary, where he essentially told her like, he wants Dick to be better than him. He doesn't want him to be just like him. Like Batman isn't uncaring. He cares. He has emotions.
No, that wasn't Diana. Diana. That wasn't Black Canary. That was Wonder Woman.
Oh, it was Wonder Woman.
Because Wonder Woman was like, they were arguing. I remember this because I was just rewatching this episode, because I've been rewatching. You know how I feel about Young Justice, but I do like some of Young Justice.
Yeah.
And I was rewatching the scene, and they found out that Shazam was 10, and so Wonder Woman was like, we had no idea. Batman was like, I knew. And she was like, of course you did. You recruited Rob when he was 9. And I was like, bro, stop.
Yeah. But yeah, so last but not least, well, actually not last but not least, I'm gonna skip Superman. Steppenwolf. We're gonna talk about Steppenwolf, then we'll talk about Superman. Steppenwolf was an actual character this time. He actually had a story arc where he essentially said that he betrayed Darkseid, and now he has to repent by capturing 50,000 planets or something like that. And this was one of them, except that this one has the anti-life equation for whatever reason. And now he's like, okay,
for whatever reason.
Yeah. So yeah.
There's a lot that was weird about this movie that wasn't explained. But
yeah, I was about to say, am I the only person, like, am I missing something from the comic books where it's weird that for whatever reason the anti-life equation is like written on Earth's surface?
Right, it's just written on the planet, right? And nobody mentions like that as a significant fact. It's just there.
Yeah, I thought I missed something in the comics or something. I was like, why is the anti-life equation on the planet? That's weird. But I mean, it gets
like carved into the surface.
Yeah, it's literally just a plot device to give Darkseid an excuse to invade Earth. That's all it is. Which that makes sense. So yeah, Steppenwolf is a character. the way he looks at people, and then the way he looks at Darkseid. Somebody posted a meme saying, give me a girl who looks at Darkseid the way Steppenwolf does. Steppenwolf's eyes literally turned into I forget
like the Puss in Boots cat.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. His eyes literally looked just like Puss in Boots. It was hilarious. But yeah, he had a character arc. He was trying to reclaim the Earth and the anti-life equation for Darkseid.
Wonder Woman killing him at the end as he went through the portal is, in my opinion, another example of Wonder Woman killing when she didn't need to and probably wouldn't in the comics.
She didn't need to kill him. That like Superman punched
him. It was like his body was literally already going into the portal, and she's just like, yeah, as it goes in and cuts his head. I'm like, why?
I was watching somebody react to it, and they made this joke when Darkseid stepped on his head, and when he said heads you lose because they cut his head off. But yeah, last but not least, Superman. Like I said, I've grown to really love Superman. I'm gonna start watching the animated series. I haven't seen it in a while. Superman in this movie came up at the end, but there's emotion. There's just this feeling I get in my soul when everything is looking dire, things going to hell, and then Superman shows up to save the day. And
this is how he's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's his character, and it feels good. I'm not the biggest fan of all of Hans Zimmer's music, because he makes so much music for so many movies, his sound is now to me just generic. It's no longer unique. When I hear a Hans Zimmer song, to me, it's just like, that's every song in every movie I've ever watched because I've heard his music so much. So his Superman theme, I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Oh, I love his Superman theme. I love his Superman theme so much.
In that moment, it was cool, but if they used the John Williams theme again in that moment, it would have been dope. I love the John Williams Superman theme. It is one of the most heroic themes in the world, other than the X-Men theme from the movies. That X-Men theme is really good. And I hope they bring it back.
It's okay. It's all right.
Go and listen to it. It's fantastic.
I've heard it. It's all right. My favorite X-Men theme is the 90s X-Men theme. That will never be dethroned for me as far as X-Men themes go.
Yeah, but it has a kind of elements from that song in the the movie version. But yeah, Superman. He came in, saved the day. He was Superman, and it was great. He wore the black suit. He wore the black suit. That was dope. He was beating the hell out of Steppenwolf. And yeah, but what do you mean kind of?
I mean, he was a bit more aggressive than Superman is, and I mean, like, that's just kind of consistent with this universe of Zack Snyder. I feel like this version of Superman was very New 52 Superman, and New 52 Superman was hated by like Superman fans everywhere to the point where they killed him off and literally replaced him with post-crisis Superman. Like, exactly. They were like, oh yeah, New 52 Superman dead. Here's a little one you guys like literally pulled him from the other timeline and brought him in. Here's that Superman.
Yeah.
So like, but I enjoyed him being in this movie. I didn't hate New 52 Superman as much as everybody else did, but I definitely didn't like him as much as post-crisis Superman. I'm also not a fan of the black suit because I feel like it's just like, I feel like the black suit was probably one of the bigger mistakes of the comics of like the Death and Rebirth of Superman arc. And I know why they brought it in, but like that just kind of misses the point of Superman, in my opinion. He's these bright colors. He represents hope. He represents all this bright stuff. And, he's wearing the Superman suit because it's like what his mom, like Ma Kent, made for him when he was a kid. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. But I understand why they did it. And I also don't like the fact that they took out the peace and justice line.
Yeah, it just looks it just looks cool. And he doesn't wear it for long. So like, I think the weirdest part of that movie is when at the end, when he opens his shirt in the traditional Superman manner and he still has the black suit on. I'm like, why? Clearly that was Zack Snyder on purpose because he probably wants him to wear that dark suit forever. But I'm like, no.
Yeah.
At the end, when he ripped his thing open, it should have been the blue, red, yellow. It shouldn't have been the black suit. Like when he wore it in that one moment, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. When he
I wouldn't have even like batted an eye if it was the blue, red, yellow suit at the end of the movie when he ripped the shirt open, but it wasn't. And I was like,
yeah, when they did, I was like, wait, what?
No, it's turning into a Zack Snyder movie.
If he had a choice, everybody would be wearing black.
Oh yeah,
Notice
the Flash black.
everything.
His lightning's probably black too. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, look how dark, and I mean, look just how dark and like dreary all of the colors look in this movie. And then look at Aquaman, and at the end of the movie, he's in his traditional bright orange and green Aquaman suit. Zack Snyder would never,
ever.
Never. That's why the suit in the Justice League movie that Aquaman wears is dark as hell. It has some green in it, but barely.
No orange at all.
In terms of coloration and toning, I am not the biggest fan of super dark and dreary movies because I feel like that's something that a lot of a few of the Marvel movies get because I'm trying to think. The Russo brothers, they tend to kind of drown out the colors in their movies. Versus something like Guardians of the Galaxy where the colors are a bit brighter, or even like Spider-Man. And it's like these, this isn't the DC universe. You want things to be bright. You want it to be colorful.
What I like about how the Russos do it is that when everything is dark, the light colors are super light, like really, really bright, and it really stands out. And like especially like the airport scene where everybody's wearing bright colors is really bright. Cap's shield, super bright. Tony's suit, bright, like maybe it was just the coloration in the theater, but it was like it was kind of like shining in my eyes and hurt a little bit to look at. But it's like when they do it well, they do it well.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder just overuses it. Like,
yeah, so just to speak on the epilogue real quick, I'm still not a fan of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, and I don't care for the excuse of he's Alexander Luthor. I don't care, man. First off, I don't give a damn about Alexander Luthor.
Bring me Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I want Lex Luthor. I want the original Alexander Luthor. I want Lex. I want bald-headed wizard. There's so many people that could have played this role.
Almost.
I think you said it before, and people say it all the time. He would be a fantastic Riddler.
Oh yeah, he would. He'd be a great Riddler. He basically played the Riddler he played like a rich version of the Riddler.
He's been the Riddler.
Right.
Joe, I'm still not sure how to
Manganiello,
how you pronounce the name, who played Deathstroke. He was actually pretty good Deathstroke.
Oh yeah.
He was actually a pretty good Deathstroke, and I've talked about it before how it would have been cool if Deathstroke just popped into Wonder Woman and was like they fought for a little bit and he dipped because he realized he was going to lose. He was pretty good Deathstroke. I want to see him return. Like, I want to see this universe continue. I really do. Do you have any last thoughts before I talk about something related to this universe, but isn't necessarily Justice League?
Personally, I'm not going to say I don't want this universe to continue, but there's just so much potential if they start merging their live action universes into one after the Flash movie made like a Flashpoint and then New Earth. Like it makes perfect sense, in my opinion, for Robert Pattinson's universe and this universe to be one universe. And for certain aspects.
For me, I think they could still do that, like merge universes and be like, okay, now we have one definitive universe. Let's actually properly build this universe instead of rushing into it like we did before. But alongside that, they should have they should literally make a line of movies that's just called Elseworlds, where they just make movies that aren't necessarily connected to other movies and are like different takes on different characters. That way you get these unique versions of these characters that aren't just your traditional superhero movies. They aren't just action comedies and dramas. They could be a murder mystery. It could be a Batman movie that's just straight up murder mystery. It could be a horror movie.
The Batman.
Yeah, they could do. Yeah, that's basically what that's going to be. But still, they could explore different genres with these superheroes and aren't they don't have to stick to this one type of tone. I think that would be cool. Have one universe where this is the unified universe, and this is the DC Elseworlds line where you just make a bunch of random moves with random characters in different genres. I think that would be dope because I do like them making movies that are separate from each other, that are on their own and unique. But yeah, moving on from that, I want to talk about Birds of Prey a little bit. I haven't seen it. I've seen some of it actually, but the reason I mention it up is because it's so weird. That movie is so weird, and the reason it's weird is because first off, it was clearly meant to be a Harley Quinn movie, but they advertised it as Birds of Prey. So eventually they decided to add at the end of it and the emancipation of Harley Quinn. And that movie should have just been called Harley Quinn. 1. 2, the fact that they made a Birds of Prey movie, the fact they called the movie Birds of Prey, and the main character was Harley Quinn, Batgirl was nowhere to be seen. And they had Huntress and Black Canary in it. This movie should have been, and I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going, Gotham City Sirens.
Gotham City Sirens.
And it should have been Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman.
Yeah.
That's what that movie should have been. Birds of Prey should have been a whole separate movie with Batgirl and me, Black Canary, Huntress, and then
It doesn't even have to be Batgirl. It could have been Oracle.
Yeah, I mean,
she's not even. She's still nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, just Barbara Gordon in general, and they could have still had they could have had a crossover. They could have been like, Birds of Prey versus Gotham City Sirens and stuff like that, and they fight each other, and then eventually they team up and fight against some other group of villains or something like that. That would actually be really cool, because I like both of those groups of women individually. They're dope. Like me, you talk all the time. Black Canary's great.
Black Canary is one of my favorite superheroes, and Barbara Gordon's becoming one of my favorite superheroes too.
People were talking about how they want a Batgirl movie, and people have been trying to make Batgirl movies, and a Batgirl movie would be great, and then for that to lead into Birds of Prey would be dope. Yeah, I just want to say that quickly. That movie's weird, and I don't know why it happened. It should have just been a Harley Quinn.
And why they literally made an original character and then named her Cassandra Cain, and I wanted to throw.
Yeah, also, I don't think we talked about this before, but just talk about comics a bit. The new version of Birds of Prey is literally just like Batgirl Inc. It's Barbara Gordon is the leader with Cassandra Cain, or was it Orphan, and Stephanie Brown. What's her name? Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler.
It's literally just the original Batgirl and the 2 other Batgirls making a Birds of Prey. It might as well just be called Batgirl Inc. But yeah, at the very end, just a few small things before we tap out. Life is Strange 3, True Colors. There was a trailer for that at the Square Enix event. And I forgot to tell you to check it out because we still have a lot of time.
I could care less about Life is Strange as a series.
I like Life is Strange. I didn't give a damn about the 2nd season, and a lot of people apparently didn't like it. The 3rd season is looking really interesting, though. And they're no longer doing the episodic thing. They're apparently going to release it all at once. It's still going to be episodic, but they're going to release all the episodes at once, and that's dope. Yeah, so another thing that I forgot to ask you to look at the trailer for if you hadn't seen it was Forspoken. It was a game that was announced as Project Athia at the event where PlayStation announced the PS5 and the release date and all that. But it has a name. It's called Forspoken. And actually, because we're going to end up wrapping up early anyway, I want you to check out the trailer real quick so that we can talk about it quickly and then talk about the last thing and then we'll be done. So look up.
Wait, what is the last thing that we're going to be talking about?
We're just going to just talk about puzzles and dungeons in video games.
Okay, because I have something else that's a slight announcement that I want to make that has nothing to do with me, but like I'm excited about.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
So look up Forspoken. I'm gonna watch the trailer too. There's a little short trailer and gameplay. It looks pretty cool.
Ooh, I can already tell from this thumbnail. It's about to be good. Let me mute myself real quick so I can watch stuff for a while.
So that traversal looks.
First thing I gotta say is that Ella Balinski is hot. That's my new wife right there. I'm simping for her. But this game looks great.
That traversal looks dope.
Yeah, that traversal looks awesome.
Makes me think of what a Flash game could be like. That traversal looks really interesting. I'm all about games where just moving around the city is fun, or the open world. When you can just make the act of moving around the world fun by itself, you don't have to do anything else. You can just sit down for 30 minutes and just run around. That's when you know you got a good game on your hands, like Spider-Man. This game looks good. It's by Luminous Productions. It's Square Enix. It looks really cool. Really cool. Starring, like you just said, what's her name again?
Ella Balinski.
Ella Balinski. Black British woman. It looks dope. Like I said, traversal looks fun, kind of Flash-like. It looks interesting. But before getting into the last thing that you want to bring up, this is gonna be pretty quick, but I want to talk about puzzles and dungeons. Like I said, I watched this YouTube channel called Game Maker's Toolkit, and they have a video series called Boss Keys. They have, essentially the first season was about Legend of Zelda and going through all of their dungeons and talking about the designs of those dungeons from 2D to 3D and beyond. And it was really interesting. And I'm sure you play video games. You know how dungeons work. You go around.
Did you say you're sure I play video games? I'm bro. That's all I do.
I said I know you play video games. I'm sure you know how dungeons work.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm like, that's all I do. I was doing that right before we started pod. Yeah.
Right before we started, I had literally just finished watching a episode of Batman. I said a Batman of Batman. But yeah. And I was thinking how the way dungeons work in Legend of Zelda could work in other games that have puzzles and things like that. And I was imagining games like Uncharted and Tomb Raider, but with kind of Zelda-ish puzzles. And essentially the way they work in Zelda is you get into this area where there are several rooms, some of them locked, there are keys and puzzles along the way to help you unlock the rooms. And you could kind of think of it kind of like a Souls-like game or like a Jedi Fallen Order where you go through, there are different locked areas that loop back around to areas you were at before for shortcuts and things like that. And as you go along and unlock different skills and things like that, you can then come back and unlock different doors. That's essentially how Jedi Order worked. That essentially came from The Legend of Zelda. And I feel like that type of system could work in a sequel to Tomb Raider or Uncharted, and it could make the puzzles far more interesting. Because as fun as those games are, I feel like Uncharted more so than Tomb Raider gets a little too samey as you play the game. What keeps you engaged is the fact it's like a blockbuster movie. It's fun to look at. It is fun to shoot people, but you literally, the way you shoot people is just the same way every single time, even though it's still fun. And the fact that it's a single player game, you can just run through it and be done with it. But in the long run, it's a bit boring. Like, not necessarily boring, it's fun as hell. But if it was any longer than it is, it would get boring real fast. Like if it was as long as another game by Naughty Dog, The Last of Us, that's fun, and the design is in a way to where it's fun to replay over and over again. The stealth is really fun. I really got to get you to play some stealth in The Last of Us. Even story aside, you just got to play like some stealth missions. But yeah, that's all I really want to say on that line. What did you have to say?
Connor Hawke is returning to DC Comics, and I'm so excited right now. I am freaking out because he was like not my favorite DC character, but very easily in the top 5, maybe even top 3. Like he might have been like second or third favorite DC character. And he was completely erased from continuity in 2011 and literally never even mentioned like at all up until now. He's going to be in the new Robin series because Robin is doing a League of Lazarus tournament. And guess who's one of the fighters in the League of Lazarus tournament? Connor Hawke. And if they make Damian beat Connor, I'm gonna be really mad because Connor was like Lady Shiva level in fighting. Like he literally tied with Richard Dragon.
They would say if Cassandra in there, because if she's in there, he shouldn't be her either.
No, she's not in there. But like, if Connor's in, Connor actually fought Cassandra, and he was tying with her while trying not to fight. Like he was like trying to talk her down, and was still like fighting equal with her. And he fought Richard Dragon to a standstill at one point. And I'm like, I need Connor to win easily here. Like if he even struggles a little bit, I'm calling BS on this entire series. But I'm just happy he's back. Yeah. I'm so happy he's back because oh my God, Connor was like my second favorite DC character.
Yeah, that sounds dope. It's interesting to see. I want more Green Arrow in general. I love Green Arrow.
Green Arrow is great. Green Arrow is just amazing.
Yeah, Green Arrow is a great.
And I really like the new 50. Well, I don't like the new 52 Green Arrow series. That was actually really bad. But I like his Rebirth series a lot.
I didn't really check out Rebirth Green Arrow.
His Rebirth series is one of the best Green Arrow series like ever. Like it's really good. And like I'm glad that they did that, but damn, I need more Connor Hawke, man. Like Connor was literally the only Green Arrow for like 10 years. And then they brought Ollie back to life. And I'm like, bro, just like you're all disrespecting Connor. He's like one of the most important Green Arrow characters.
But yeah, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Episode was a little shorter than expected. I feel like that always happens when I feel like there's a lot of stuff we have and then we don't have a lot of stuff. But yeah, follow me at Dijon Mustard. Links right below me. Amir. Wait, no, this way. Okay. At is going to be right there in his hand.
My hand.
And below.
Like it always is. It's always got in my hand.
I'll follow the podcast itself at the Mustardcast on Instagram and Twitter. And again, right below. And,
in 2 weeks, I'm gonna have you have a challenge where you put it on my shoulder.
Okay. But yeah, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.
Peace.